Now on CoastTV News.
The Sussex County Courthouse in Georgetown will be home to a high-profile felony hate crime case. Cutting the ribbon, Rehoboth Beach Patrol Station celebrating its grand opening. From homes to green space, Lewis property owners propose a unique land split, and numbers fall flat for hotels and short-term rentals in Ocean City, but busier days are on the way.
We've been tracking several isolated thunderstorms, this latest one prompting a severe thunderstorm warning that's getting closer to the Cambridge area. We're going to track the latest on this and give you a feel as to if this is going to become a problem for the rest of the evening.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
Hate crime cases moving forward against two former Millville firefighters. Good evening, I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Welcome to our News at 5. We begin tonight with an update on the two people charged with a hate crime in Millville. And here is a new update today. Jay Droney, one of the two men charged, was waived up to Superior Court. Coast TV News reporter Zakiya Jennings is in the newsroom. Zakiya, you were in court today when that happened.
Charlie, Droney had his preliminary hearing this morning in the Court of Common Pleas. Droney was waived up to Superior Court, so both his case and Jordan Hastings' case will be handled there. We spoke with a representative with the Delaware court system who says there are two very likely options that can happen moving forward. Droney and Hastings could have a preliminary hearing in Superior Court, or it could go to indictment. According to the courts, 99% of the time a case will go to indictment. This gives prosecutors the chance to present evidence to a grand jury, and the grand jury decides whether the case should be indicted. If the grand jury does decide to move forward with the indictment, that will then become public. Coast TV will continue to follow the story. Back to you.
According to police, this incident happened on Valentine's Day in 2024. Police say in 2024, the men chased a paid employee with a rope tied into a noose. According to the fire company, there was continued verbal harassment and racist remarks. Jay Droney and Jordan Hastings are two former volunteer firefighters at the Millville Volunteer Fire Company. Both men are charged with felony hate crime and conspiracy. They're also facing a harassment charge. We're taking a live look now into Laurel as we check in with our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Paul Williams. And Paul, we know you're watching some things. Where do we stand right now?
We stand okay in the Laurel area, which is what you're seeing right now. But I want to change the point of view just briefly to what's happening here in Cambridge. Now, I want you to notice, you see the ominous aspect of this storm system? This is the beginning shelf that's beginning to make its way towards the Cambridge area. And this is part of a system that we've been tracking. This isolated thunderstorm prompted a severe thunderstorm warning. And here's our marker right now. It's near Castle Haven right now, and it's sliding towards the Cambridge area. Now, we've had a history of about 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, but it's not a very fast mover. It's moving only at about 20 miles per hour. So as we kind of highlight what's happening with this storm, we're tracking how it's pushing across the region at this point. And right now, as we kind of see what's happening here with this, it's tracking towards the southeast, tracking towards the southeast, right? It's supposed to hit the Cambridge area possibly as soon as 5:52, if not a little bit earlier than that, as this system begins to slide through. Now, we're noticing that it's not losing much of its energy right now, and it's gone from circulatory, possibly showing it might be tornadic, early signs, to going right back and oscillating between that and, let's say, a hail maker. Thus far, Charlie, it has a history of creating quarter-sized hail so far, and it's prompted the severe thunderstorm warning that was allowed to expire at the top of the hour. And we're going to continue to track this, particularly as it gets a little bit closer towards the Cambridge area. And if need be, we'll be sure to break in and let you know what's happening with this system. But right now, I don't see much in the way of it creating this. Now, this is our velocity scope, and I look at the green and the red, and if they're close to one another like this may indicate possibly a little bit of circulation in the upper atmosphere, but we're not seeing anything that's showing a true sign of a tornadic signature of any sort. So at this point, we're still looking at a very volatile hailstorm that's making its way towards Cambridge, moving to the southeast at about 20 miles per hour, and we'll continue to monitor this throughout the newscast, Charlie.
Thank you, Paul. Turning now to area development. You're looking at about 3.5 acres of land in Lewis that was debated by City Council today. It's located off Gills Neck Road and it's being called the Kennedy property. It's right on the Lewis-Georgetown Trail, and property owners say that's why they want to donate part of the land back to the city for a park or rest area. On the other 2 acres of the land, property owners want to build about 7 single-family homes facing the canal. Some local trail users have worries, though, when it comes to open spaces like this.
I mean, if they're going to do anything, then a little place to sit would be nice. But I would rather see it just left open where we can enjoy the canal and not have any buildings blocking our way.
No decisions were made at the workshop today, but the city says they're on board with the plan and they think it's a generous donation. Here's an update on growth in the area. The Belmead Farm, which developers want to turn into a business and apartments on Route 24 next to Beacon Middle School in Lewis, it's taking another step forward. Wednesday night, Sussex County Planning and Zoning recommended approval to the county to change the zoning to allow for that type of development. However, the recommendations from the Planning and Zoning listed over 20 stipulations that the developer would have to follow, some including keeping 12 acres of the land as open space. Officials also suggested developers donate money to the Rehoboth Beach Fire Department. One concern from locals is, if approved, how the development could hurt traffic on Route 24.
I came here because I felt that it was less congested than New York. You know, coming out of Queens, New York and going into Long Island, that's really a headache of traffic. So it looks like they're heading that way too.
According to plans, if the project is ultimately approved, construction would be expected to be completed in 2032. Fewer people filling hotels in Ocean City. That's the news from recent tourism reports. In the month of March, occupancy rates dropped for hotels and even short-term rentals when you compare those numbers to last year. The Ocean City tourism report for March shows a 10% decrease in hotel occupancy compared to last year, 5% decrease for those short-term rentals. But the general manager at the Residence Inn in Ocean City said he's not worried about those numbers, and that is due to bookings, all the bookings he's been seeing for this summer season.
Our financials are done. April's much better. Yeah, so April, May's tremendous. June, for us, June's way up. July's up. August is up.
Now, although hotels were on a downward trend for the months of February and March compared to last year, as you heard there, they do expect that those occupancy numbers are going to bump up for the coming months. And this brings us right into our CoastTV poll. We want to know, do you prefer staying in short-term rentals or hotels when you vacation? Let's take a look. And it is reasonably close here. Right now, 63% of the vote leaning towards hotels, 37% saying short-term rental. I'm going to be interested to see if these numbers change throughout the evening. If you haven't voted yet, you can still do that at CoastTV.com or use our mobile app. And remember, you can leave us a comment as well. It's been a major project of intrigue in Rehoboth Beach, the new patrol station that's been in the works since December 2023. But today, finally, the grand opening. The new station is 2 stories and is just under 8,000 square feet. The building is fully ADA accessible and has 96 lockers for staff. City Manager Taylor Tedder tells CoastTV that lifeguards and staff needed and deserve this new building.
This really not only serves the public, but the Beach Patrol, 78 seasonal staff that we have. We've got several public restrooms and all-gender family restrooms, changing rooms, a medical bay. So it's really going to serve the public for decades to come.
The Beach Patrol station was estimated to cost $4.9 million when construction began. When the project ended, though, that price tag ballooned to $5.7 million, around a $750,000 over budget finale. Developing out of California, at least 2 people are dead after a small plane crashed in San Diego into military housing. Fire crews were out in force Thursday morning in the area, knocking back several fires that spread in the wake of the crash. The crash also damaged around 10 structures in that neighborhood. And 2 Israeli embassy staff members were shot and killed by a gunman who later yelled, "Free Palestine," while being arrested in Washington, D.C. Wednesday night. Ivan Rodriguez shows us how both of them were attending an event at a Jewish museum in the nation's capital.
Last night, really our worst fears came true.
A shocking act of violence on a night focused on peace.
This year, the focus was on humanitarian diplomacy. It was on finding ways to work together in an interfaith way across the region to help bring peace.
Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram, two Israeli embassy staffers set to be engaged, according to the Israeli ambassador, killed Wednesday night while leaving an event for young professionals at the Capitol Jewish Museum.
They were a beautiful couple who came to enjoy an evening in Washington's Cultural Center.
According to investigators, the couple were shot outside of the museum Wednesday night around 9. D.C. police identified the suspect as 30-year-old Chicago native Elias Rodriguez. Eyewitness video obtained by CNN appears to show the suspect as he's taken into custody.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
The FBI and D.C. police have launched their investigation, and the Israeli embassy is assisting.
We will not tolerate any acts of terrorism, and we're going to stand together as a community in the coming days and weeks to send the clear message that we will not tolerate anti-Semitism.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Preparing for hurricane season, the latest predictions from NOAA on how many storms the Atlantic might see this year.
This is the latest tracking on the storm we've been keeping a close eye on. Expected to hit Cambridge by 5:16, Linkwood by 5:33, Salem at 5:41, and Sharptown by 6:03. We'll continue to track this storm, but it hasn't prompted a newly issued severe thunderstorm warning, at least not yet, Charlie.
First, saying the Pledge of Allegiance, whatever the weather. We take you to Bethany Beach in our Coastal Connections next.
If I asked you right now, I bet there are a couple of songs or phrases that you know every single word to without even having to think about it. The ABCs, Happy Birthday, and probably the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, did you know there is a group that meets every week at the Bethany Beach Boardwalk to recite that pledge? And in this week's Coastal Connections, we show you their inspiration and what else you need to know.
Every Wednesday at 8:30, you will see this crew at the Bethany Beach flagpole reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
We're Americans and we're proud of being American. It's a good way to start the day.
The group has been gathering for 4 years, whatever the weather.
We never cancel, have never. Now, we've been here in the snow, the wind, you name it, any type, ice,
bitter cold.
Yeah, there might only be a handful of people here, but we're here, and we still do it no matter what the weather is.
God bless
Anyone is invited to join in.
Some of our members go out on the boardwalk and we ask people who are here for this vacation to come join us.
And the inspiration to stand up and salute, both patriotic and personal.
So I come out here every week, I look at that flag and think of my father who fought in World War II when he was 18 years old. And I look up there and I see his face every week. And that's how I visit. That's how I visit my father.
Through the pledge and song, a sense of unity in a world where that sometimes seems impossible to find.
We are Americans. We're from different backgrounds, from different parts of the country. We're here in this glorious area at the beach. And it's just time for us to stand up and say, hey, we will not be forgotten.
God bless America, my home, sweet home.
For Coastal Connections, I'm Madeline Overturf.
The severe thunderstorm we've been tracking all day has now caught the eye, not only of us, but the National Weather Service, saying that this storm that we're seeing right now visually affect the folks in Cambridge, going to affect northern Dorchester County pretty significantly at this point. We're picking up heavy downpours, and this storm has a history of producing some hail. Now, we're expecting it to stick around Cambridge and affect them until 7 o'clock with additional storms behind it. Here's the latest look at what that looks like right now. Here's Cambridge. So it's actually the strength, the most potent part of the storm is actually to the north, and it's becoming a hail producer headed towards Mount Holly and the Linkwood area. Now, with this in mind, here's a wider view of how it's expected to move, and so we wanted to track it for you. Now it's picked up momentum, moving at 30 miles per hour, looking for it to move throughout Hawkeye at 524, Sharptown at 544, but check this out. The folks in Laurel, we're looking for this to possibly hit you just before 6 o'clock if it continues on the trajectory that it's moving at this present time, and will begin to move throughout the Del Mar area. This prompted a severe thunderstorm warning, although the warning has not been allowed to extend, but it has a history of doing that at the very least, with scattered light showers in all other locations. Now, because of the rain we've had on an extended period of time from yesterday and today, we have a coastal flood advisory active for Sussex, and then in addition to that, small craft advisory until 6 o'clock Friday along the coast, Ocean City all the way down towards Chincoteague. And then we have a coastal flood statement active for all the other areas throughout the Delmarva Peninsula. And then a small craft advisory over where we have the folks over in the Cambridge area where they're concerned about that isolated thunderstorm that's really popping through. This is moving with a quasi-stationary frontal boundary that's beginning to make its way a little bit more towards the southeast. Fortunately, we don't have temperatures in the 70s. We're in the 60s and 50s. That allows for us to possibly escape the worst case scenario because we don't have the heat energy in place. We have a good deal of moisture and an abundance thereof coming off of the water that's setting us up. Before tonight, we're expecting things to calm down a bit for us after we get past 8 o'clock. Partly cloudy skies, winds out of the west, and temperatures in the 50s. Now, Friday's going to be a cool day with some fog. And then by the holiday weekend, shaping up nicely with plenty of sunshine. Tomorrow, we are near 70 degrees. Georgetown as well as Millsboro. Look for 69 for the high in Cambridge, and we're looking for a high of 70 in Berlin as well as Snow Hill. Now, along the coast, here's a breakdown of what we're expecting. Mostly cloudy to cloudy skies, temperatures in the upper 60s to low 70s, generally for most of our beaches going into Friday. Now, as we go into Friday, you'll notice we see the temperatures dancing back and forth between the 50s up to near 70 for 5 o'clock, and then it subsides a bit for us as we go throughout the evening hours. Same holds true for us from Ocean Pines down towards Snow Hill. Now, we may briefly see temperatures in the 40s, a bit of a chill in the air. But that's what's happening. Now, our precipitation chances will dwindle dramatically until we get to next Tuesday. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Memorial Day, we're looking for drier weather, perfect for your outdoor plans. Until we get to, let's say, Tuesday, we'll see some scattered showers by then. So your Memorial Day weekend, we're looking, for example, 70 degrees, mostly sunny and breezy for Saturday. And as we go into Sunday, 72, wonderful, partly cloudy skies. And then Memorial Day, sun to start, then clouds on the increase and 74 degrees. Finally, here's a look at your extended forecast. We're going to get past this rain today, and then we won't have to worry about any more rain until next Tuesday.
We're going to stay weather related here. NOAA has announced their predictions for the Atlantic hurricane season. They expect an above normal season. Now, NOAA's National Weather Service forecasters are planning to see between 13 and 19 total named storms. 3 of the 5 of those, they think, 3 to 5 of them, they think will be major hurricanes. Coming up tonight on DSN, another exciting episode of Into the Trenches. That's going to premiere at 7:30, then catch the final score at 10:30. And coming up, a new rule heading to Southwest flights, why officials say the change could reduce the fire risk. Stay tuned on CoastTV News at 5. If you're planning to fly with Southwest anytime soon, you might want to hear this. The airline is implementing a new rule. Southwest is restricting the use of portable chargers or power banks while they're stored in a bag or an overhead bin. Now, this is important. You can still use a portable charger on board. It just needs to be out of any baggage and remain in plain sight during the flight. Now, Southwest says the change is meant to reduce the risk of fires caused by the lithium-ion batteries that power those devices. The record-breaking Memorial Day travel rush is on. AAA reports just over 45 million people will travel a minimum 50 miles from home over the multi-day holiday period, today all the way into Monday. And now here's a live look into Ocean City. One more check on the forecast. You see those clouds? It's coming up after the break.
We will continue to keep a watchful eye on scattered showers slicing across the Delmarva Peninsula with a few coastal flood advisories in play. Christopher Slusser of Millsboro, congratulations, you're our umbrella winner. Keep in contact with your forecast by calling our weather line, sponsored by Brockstedt, Mandalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. After this rain is over, we'll wait till next Tuesday for another round.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5. For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app. Inside Edition, that's coming up next, and we're going to see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.